All right. Well, hey guys, welcome back to Small Town Life, and we got a special guest here today that I want to have the pleasure of introducing you to. Here we have Bob. Bob.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm Bob Holowenko. I grew up in a small community, same one that Ben grew up in, I would say, like
For a good portion, yeah.
a good portion of it, yeah. And somehow ended up after doing a decade on the coast at university and then some work time, eventually ended up coming back because our generation tends to be the boomerang generation that eventually realizes that we kind of liked it here.
Yeah, we realized the fondness of what we had when we grew up. And
Yeah.
you have kids of your own, you wanted to be able to share that kind of a thing with them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So here we are in Quesnel, BC, up in the Caribou region. You basically look on the map of BC, you go up halfway, go in halfway, you're there. So, Bob, you have a awesome job that I do not know how to properly describe. You're 9 to 5, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing to help explain that to our viewers as, a possible thing that they might be interested in or never even heard of in the first place?
Yeah, so I've got one of those things that people didn't really hear of until COVID, and that's a work from home job. So my 9 to 5, I work in the tech sector for a telecommunications company. I do automation, I do security incident response. My background, my training is digital forensics, so practitioner. And so I ended up trying to mostly maintain the 9 to 5, but it's not always possible depending on what's happening. If something I'm working on is blowing up, I have to be there for it. But for the most part, yeah, 9 to 5, and the best part, work from home.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible to beat that commute. So
No. Coffee usually tastes better at the office then, too.
yeah, it's better when it's free, I suppose. But
And you know who to blame when it's burnt.
exactly. Sometimes it would be nice though to be able to walk away to a coffee shop, which I guess I could.
Yeah.
But like living down on the coast when I was in a physical office, it was a 2-minute walk. It was a great distraction.
Mhm.
And nowadays it's a trip up the stairs and you don't really go anywhere and you don't get any separation. So pros and cons.
Pros and cons. Yeah. So the kind of training that you had to go through to get into your career, like how would you went to university?
Yep.
You went to UBC or?
So I ended up going to BCIT.
Oh, even better.
So technically not university. It's a technical college for those who don't know.
It's even better.
But it's one of those ones where you come out with slightly less notoriety, but a lot less student debt and a lot more hands-on knowledge. So
Yeah.
for me, it did me well. I did 2 years at BCIT full-time.
Yeah.
So I did the network systems technology program. That was great. It really taught me that I made a good choice with networking. And then after that, I started working quite literally, handed my final project in on, well, we received our marks and everything for our final projects on the Friday. The next Monday, I was walking into the building to get my photo taken for my company ID, which is hanging in my kitchen at home. And yeah, I did that for about 6 months, and then I got the itch to keep learning.
Yeah.
I was in the process of learning a brand new job, but I found that there was a lot more of it that I already knew than I expected. And I consider myself a lifelong learner. I'm always trying to jump into something new and chase that dopamine hit.
You're never done learning, guys. Never done learning.
Yeah.
The day you stop learning is the day you die.
Pretty much. Or at least the day you stop becoming useful or satisfied.
And the day you die could be still like a walking zombie, like you're alive, but are you really living?
Yeah. But yeah, after about 6 months, I ended up going back to start working on my forensics degree.
Mhm.
I pictured it in my mind as I'd be part of the hacker busting task force and smashing in windows and breaking down doors with the badges. But it turned out it was a lot of going through the cell phones, or Blackberries at the time.
Yeah.
Of
Because we're that old, guys.
yeah, Blackberry was still a company back in the day, and so we kind of had experience doing that. I had a chance to go through a work placement with our CMPE division for a little bit. And I realized that private sector, which I was already in, was probably the better choice. So instead of going into public sector, I went the private route, both industry and as I started working under a PI because for our protection we have to have someone that we practice under at that point. And so that transitioned into a like a work from home gig where I was in the office, but I had the option to work from home. I changed jobs about 3 or 4 times in order to get to what I'm doing now. And the opportunity came up for, like once I had finished my degree, my digital forensics degree, the opportunity came in the form of registered mail. And registered mail is never great.
No.
The folks that owned the condo we were living in, their daughter had just finished her degree up at Simon Fraser, wanted the condo. We had to get out. So my sister had just a few years prior had her first wedding up here in Quesnel. And when I was up here with my then girlfriend at the time, I don't think fiance yet.
Almost at that time, I think, yeah.
Yep. We really enjoyed ourselves swimming at the Cottonwood. We had spent some time up here in the summer, really enjoyed it. Kind of came to that realization that, maybe my family is not so horrible after all. Maybe they're good people,
Maybe they knew what they were talking about.
Exactly. Yep. So, you left here at 19, just tired of the town, kind of unaware of how good it really was, no real experience of other places, and left with the feeling like, yeah, that place can burn down behind me. And then after a little while on the coast, you start to realize that a lot of things that we took for granted that we just can't have on the Lower Mainland. I've got coworkers whose kids will never have their own bedrooms, for instance, like bunk beds till they move out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what we wanted for our future.
Yeah. How's the saying go? You never realize how good your wine was at home until you've tasted crappy wine.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that all the big cities are terrible, but you don't realize what you've had until it's gone.
Exactly. Vancouver is obviously, which is where I was living, is a world-class city, great place to live. But it's one of those places that I like to visit now instead of that I like to be in for any significant amount of time.
Yeah.
Growing up here, I don't have the patience for traffic. I don't have the interest in being surrounded by so many people. So
our traffic jams up here are 4 cars at a red light.
Yeah.
And that's a bad day, guys.
Yeah, that's Billy Barker days.
That's Billy Barker days. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had the opportunity to get pushed out of the comfort zone, which was the condo we were living in.
Yeah.
And as soon as we had to make that choice, Sarah suggested, well, what about Quesnel? And once I caught my breath from laughing, I realized she was serious. She actually thought, yeah, let's move to Quesnel. So we started browsing listings, right? Like, so just, MLS.ca, look at what comes up. And the house we're living in right now was actually on the top of my wife's list. Again, at that time, my fiance's list. And so we thought, okay, well, let's look at these places. Let's get the real estate agent to show us some other places. And the one that we're living in right now is the house we wanted, which is amazing.
It's like the dream home, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
And now it's got some personal touches done to it.
Exactly.
Bit by bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's ours now.
It's yours.
Yeah.
And it's been more involved with being able to raise your family the way you want to now too.
Yeah. And exactly.
You have that more community feel.
Oh, definitely.
Like, you can trust to have your kids playing in the backyard without really having to worry about who's walking through the neighborhood.
Yep.
And yeah, like how would you describe that kind of a vibe?
So the neighborhood that I'm in is relatively elderly.
Yeah.
There are people that bought in some cases, they're first owners of homes. It is in a neighborhood that is slightly higher income. So you get a lot of the retirees, the folks that bought in when things were cheap and they could afford it. Now there are a bunch of retirees that couldn't afford to buy their own house, just because of the way prices have gone. So, that's one downside, but that's not the entire makeup of it. There's a couple doors down, there's a young family, and my daughters are friends with the twins that live there, which is great. There's a nice young gentleman who's a wildland firefighter, kitty corner to us, living in the house that was once the home of one of my childhood best friends. I'm sure you remember Mark.
Yeah.
So there's a trail that goes directly down to the school. Both of my daughters are going to school at the school that I was in from grades 3 through 7.
Legacy.
Exactly. And you know what? I look on the wall and there's like an old fire plan with some of the teachers' names on there. And it's from like the late 1990s, which is, roughly around the time I was there.
It was still a great time, guys.
Exactly.
An amazing time.
The previous century. And there's names of teachers that I remember, right?
Yeah.
And so you look at that and it's like, sometimes it feels like it's been so long. Sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
The school sure feels a lot smaller now, though, that's for sure.
Well, we grew just a little bit.
Always.
Oh, well. Yeah, and then the other thing, too, is like, when you look at pricing for housing and everything else, because I do this all the time, so we're still trying to find our permanent home. And we look at places where on the coast that are like, well, I could buy this condo, or for the same price, I could buy this 6-bedroom, 5-bathroom house on acres of land for almost the same price. So it's like, so one of your advantages is that working wherever, so you can work from home. Well, home can be wherever. So that made it an easy choice to choose some place that you feel like you can be a part of a community.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I missed down on the coast was I was part of some groups for some of my hobbies, but it didn't really have that sense of community. Everybody was so spread out. We were a few of millions. One of my favorite things about being back here is I'm able to participate. I'm part of 2 different, or I'm well involved with 2 different groups, volunteer groups. One is the amateur radio group and one is the Quesnel Search and Rescue group. And it gives me a chance to give back to the community that essentially helped raise me, right? When I was young, me and a lot of friends where we'd be kind of out, just like the myths of sun up to sundown, or at least over the summer.
Oh yeah.
And so
we got a lot to explore around here.
Oh, we do. Yeah, there's always something to do. We have there's a lot of people still living in this town that I remember from when I was growing up. Like, really, I was only gone for 10 years, which,
is a lot, but it's not at the same time.
Exactly. It's a little more than a quarter of my entire life thus far. I'll let you guys do the math yourself.
Not math.
Yeah. Oh, that number's common and it's mean. But just the ability to give back to the community. I've always had a thing for emergency management. So instead of being the guy dangling on the chunk of rope, which I don't do heights, I get to do other things. Like I do SAR management, which is basically telling people where to go and how to get there, which my HR file says I'm great at. So
well, you do it nicely with a nice voice and a smile. And I don't feel bad afterwards.
Yeah. Same as at work, except for the last part. And so, exactly. So yeah, it's something that I find value in personally. I find it rewarding, and I'm able to take part in some really, really cool rescues, really cool searches. Last year, I was the planning section chief for a few operational periods of what is believed to be British Columbia's, or at least northern British Columbia's, largest search. So the search for 6-year-old Oakland up in Burns Lake, or the Burns Lake area, near Burns Lake. I was in the command post for 3, I believe, operational periods of that. And I tell you, the moment that we found out she was found, it was just like every emotion flooding in.
Yeah,
right?
Tidal wave.
Oh, just unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everybody's like just wound up, excited to find her. Everybody's just finished being quite sad, and you think, oh my goodness, like you start doing the math on how long, and it just cranks your emotions. So being part of that, we've just finished 4 tasks in 4 days. We've had 2 tasks for medical extractions out on the Bowen Lake chain. Our team members came up on a motor vehicle accident that they helped out on. I wasn't on that one, but I was doing stuff for the other 3. And then we had a case up on the Garner Road, so way west of town. And then there's been 2 float plane type incidents, one on Horsefly Lake yesterday, and then our task on Mitchell Lake just a week ago. So it's been a lot of activity, a lot of tasks. Anyway, I enjoy it.
Well, I'm glad.
So
it makes it a lot easier to be involved with that volunteer group, because yes, guys, this is a volunteer program organization, and I would like to say that we always want more people to help out. You never have enough people, especially when it comes down to the nitty gritty. We need people now, and
QuesnelStar.ca/contact. Click on the application form. Do it. Don't be scared. Do it. There's a job for everybody.
And it's not all hard stuff too. And do what you can, when you can. Every little bit helps, guys. That's what helps the community stay strong together. So, Bob, would we be able to do a quick little tour?
Sure, let's walk around and take a look. So this is our side-by-side. It's a Polaris Ranger. We have this equipped at the back, and I'll show you there. It's got a patient carrier that allows us to put a stretcher and attendant on the back. So we're able to put a subject on a stretcher, completely strapped down right here. We've got the appropriate attachments with an attendant. So a medical attendant gets to sit right here, and they can keep direct contact with the subject, full roll bar, all the radios and everything that we need to be communicated. So basically, this is the best example of an off-road ambulance. It gives us a chance to be able to pull people out of sticky situations when they're hurt out in the backcountry. We also do have tools that we can use to carry them out, and I'll show you those in a moment. This piece of equipment over here is our mobile command post. So when we go to a scene, we need to have all of the things that we would have had back in town. So that's things like access to computers, internet. We use Starlink, we use radios and all kinds of stuff. So if you follow me up here,
sweet little mini command center.
Exactly. So when I first started in search and rescue, this was my seat right here. I was the radio guy that was operating all the radios. So I've got certifications for using airband radios, amateur radio, amateur advanced. I've got 2 commercial radios, a fleet of handheld satellite phone that doesn't work anymore. We've discontinued it. And then we've got other digital things that help make us better. So behind me is a mapping screen that we use for briefing our teams. We'll bring our team members in here, sit them down, or at least our team leaders. And our team leaders will sit down, or we'll get briefed in on the nature of the task. We'll have everything up on the screen and go from there. So a typical task, we end up going through reams and reams of paper. Before anyone leaves, we make sure they have an assignment sheet. And that assignment sheet includes a map of where they're going, the instructions, quite literally the where to go and what to do when you get there kind of thing. So we go through tons of paper as part of our briefings, as part of our tracking. When we're actually in the middle of an incident, this whole thing, everything can either be written on with whiteboard markers or stuck with magnets. So that gives us the ability to cover this in assignments, and we can track them. We use a lot of software now in order to avoid the problems that come with the paper shuffle. So it's getting to be less and less, but we're still able to run it old school with paper maps, with whiteboard markers, and you name it.
Yeah, because old school can never fail sometimes.
Exactly. You can't run out of batteries if you're, well, I guess you can run out of dry erase, but
You can always find something to write on and write with.
Exactly. And if we have to do it in pen instead of with whiteboard markers, we can do it. We've got Starlink so that we can set this up on the back of the command vehicle if we wish. This gives us the ability to stay in contact with town. We have a pretty skookum repeater network that lets us communicate throughout our entire dispatch area, which basically goes all the way out to the edge of the Robson Valley towards McBride and such, all the way into the Itchies. So we cover a massive area. Quesnel Search and Rescue, as far as our population, so I forget how it goes, population to square kilometer ratio, we're actually one of the largest in the province, or one of the biggest as far as service area to population ratio. Our team size is relatively petite right now, but we're working on it. We're trying to make our team a little bit larger. Again, quesnelstar.ca/contact. Click on the link to download the application form.
I'll be putting a link in the description for that there too, guys.
Thanks for doing that. So, yeah, let's check out the rescue truck.
Yeah.
So this is our rescue truck, and in this side we've got a whole bunch of apparatus used by our rope team. So Quesnel Search and Rescue has a really large rope team of folks who are incredibly dedicated. So in the event that we need to send a team down maybe over a cliff, so up here we have a provincial park that has hoodoos. It's called Pinnacles Provincial Park, and so I'm using that as the example because a lot of people go there. We could end up having somebody over one of the edges where we need to get them. So we are completely kitted now with rope gear so that we could bring somebody up from a situation like that. Anytime we go into a rescue, we need to have the right equipment, and that's one of our biggest expenses is purchasing equipment. So we make sure that when we do purchase equipment, that we're trained on it and we know how to use it, because if we end up at a scene unaware of how to use our stuff, or we don't have all the right stuff, it's a problem. So our team constantly practices with this equipment, and hopefully that would show, oh, hey, we don't have this. Oh, hey, we need that, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah.
In the back here, it opens towards you, so you might need to come around to get a better view.
Sweet.
So we're in the middle of swapping some stuff out from in here because we just came back from some tasks, but we have this bed slide that lets us get to the stuff at the very back. I won't pull it out too far because there's not much room to pull it out, but chainsaw, we've got this wheel, we call it the mule, and that allows us to hook it to the bottom of the stretcher, and that's how we get people down from bike trails. There's a ton of mountain biking in the Quesnel area, so we can use this to bring a subject down. Inside here, we have our full hypothermia kit that we would use in the event that we needed it. We have our vacuum splint bag, which is used more and more. We were one of the first groups in Quesnel to have it, and now the local fire department, actually in some of the regional district fire departments use them. They're just a really cool tool that really locks in. It's like an instant cast so that you're completely immobilized.
And why is that important, Bob?
Well, it's important to reduce further injury. If we're bringing somebody out in an area where they are going to get jostled, so if they're in this and we're carrying them, they could get kind of bounced and stuff, and we do not want to add to the injury. So if they've got, say, a spinal injury, that will immobilize them so they can't get hurt further.
Yeah, because we don't want to risk potential jostling that could lead to a potential paralyzation form.
It's happened.
Yeah. And, you guys try and do all of what you can to make sure that whoever's missing and hurt is able to make it back in as best condition that we can.
Exactly. Not only do we want to save lives, we want to be protecting quality of life. So if we end up hurting somebody more than their initial injury, like if we're quite literally adding insult to injury, it becomes a problem, and it's definitely against what we want for them. So
and that's why you guys go also through so much training.
Yeah. The amount of training that we go through is insane. Not everybody has to do like all the rescue disciplines, right? Like swift water, rope rescue.
Yeah, that's
all
not
kinds of
what
stuff.
everyone does.
Exactly. It's if you want to do that, you go through, you do the GSAR, which is the main kind of the base level, entry level course. If you want to stop at GSAR, you stop at GSAR. If you want to continue on and become a tracker, learn how to find people, learn how to read footprints, read terrain, age sign, all kinds of stuff. You can do that. If you're into heights, I am not. And I can tell you that harnesses are not into me. We can, you can learn how to do rope rescue with all the practice ropes that we have here. We've got all kinds of different things that we might need on a task. So, for instance, we had to go through, we had to cut barbed wire one time to set up a landing zone for a helicopter. So now we
That
have,
stuff's some nasty stuff,
yep,
especially when it's rusty.
yes, or when it's pulled so tight that when you even get near it, you're like, oh my goodness, this is going to shoot like a bullet as soon as we cut it.
Yep, and those slice when they go flying.
Exactly. So we got bolt cutters for cutting that, right? Like we need to be able to think of everything. So a lot of this is based on the notes that came from a debriefing from an actual event. I guess some of it's considered just knowledge. One thing that I've been big on since I joined is adding additional technology. I'm not just a technology fan. I'm also a bit of a evangelist for it within our team. So over the last few years, we've added an entire fleet of iPads and such, a couple different sizes. We just added drones.
And this is one of the things I'm really excited for because Quesnel region, or the Caribou region, I want to say, is not flat at all. And there's some areas that are very difficult to get to on foot.
Mm-hmm.
And get a couple of those flying around, and they can cover probably a square acreage in probably an eighth of the time it would take for us to walk it.
Exactly. We can have one of these up and launched and completing reconnaissance faster than we can get confirmation that a helicopter is coming.
Yeah.
I can have this unbuckled and quite literally in the air before the phone call is made to have a helicopter brought to Quesnel. So,
and when sometimes time is of the essence, every second counts.
100%. So we don't use these as much for searching for people, just because it's, we find people usually are a pretty good distance from where we start our investigation with what's called the last known position or place last seen. But what we do use this for is situational awareness. So let's say we're sending a rope rescue team over an edge. We can now take this, fly over the edge, and see if things are undercut or if there is a rope rescue situation, or river rescue situation. We can pre-fly it and look for hazards like strainers or falls or anything that probably wasn't there the last year or the last time one of our team members was there. And it really gives us the situational awareness for the purposes of safety to make sure that we don't end up putting our rescuers in a worse situation or to put them in an unsafe situation.
Yeah, because we don't need to be having to rescue additional people when we can prevent that, right?
Exactly. And nobody would live that down. No SAR person wants to be the subject because
we have our prides, yes.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with being a subject.
No.
But, it's just you're not in that privileged category that we don't make fun of if you're not a SAR volunteer.
We're all human.
Exactly. I just noticed one of these is disconnected, so I apologize. I'm getting distracted.
It's all good. It's always good to be able to check over your all the different tools that you use. Make sure everything's ready for use immediately. You don't just leave it unprepared. You want to make sure that it's you grab and go. Not, oh wait, I got to sharpen the chainsaw first or fill it up.
Exactly. So we have a full demobilization procedure. Every time we come back to the hall, we make sure that vehicles are filled. We make sure that supplies that ran out are refilled. Anything that's a consumable, like, so for instance, if we pop open one of our first aid kits, let's say it's the level 3 first aid kit, and we've just consumed the oxygen tanks, we will go get our O2 replenished, or we will document that we used XYZ bandage, XYZ splint that we used, whatever. And all those consumables go onto a report. At the end of the task, that report gets used to generate an estimate for what it's going to cost to replace it. And then we go forward and make the purchase to replace it.
So,
I want to take a look at the equipment room upstairs, I guess?
in 1 second, Bob, I'd like you to introduce me to a very important member of the crew.
So this is Ruth. Ruth Lee is our rescue dummy, but she's smarter than the average dummy. She knows how to float. So
yeah, I don't float very well. I've tried. I sink very well.
We have sent her off the bridge in town, the walking bridge, or people call it the old bridge, and sent her off of it and sent our rope rescue team to go collect her. So Ruth is just another member of the team. We actually sign her into tasks sometimes for training tasks, or she becomes the subject. We've had situations where we'll go place her somewhere. She's got a signature print on her boots. So often what we'll do is we've got another pair of those, and we can leave sign, and then we'll put her somewhere, and our tracking team will find her, or our rope team will lift her up. She's been thrown over Wineglass Falls and a few other places in order to help our team learn. So Ruth is probably one of our
really
highest
valuable member of the team.
Exactly, one of our highest respected team members that gets in the worst situations.
Thank you for your service, Ruth.
So this is a portable repeater that's used for linking into our communications network. So this gives us the ability, when we're out in the field, to have communications either back to town or to other team members in an area where the repeater doesn't cover today. So for instance, we have one up on Dragon Mountain, one out in Wells, and one out towards Fishpot Mountain. And this lets us connect back to it either through IP connectivity or through UHF. So basically we take an antenna like this, point it back at the central location. We call it the hub location. And then we put a vertical antenna up and we are on the air.
Technology is amazing, guys. And it's keeping getting better.
It's part of our safety plan. Everything is all about safety here.
Knowing how to use all of our different tools available. Ooh, we got a lot of goodies up here.
So this is the mezzanine. This is where all of our team equipment is. So in the event that we have a rescue where we need some of this equipment, team members will come up. Everything's got a label on it. It'll have a big, pretty label soon, but we're still working on the system. And they grab what they need, haul it out. It lands here. Team members take it, change into it. So for instance, our Swiftwater Tech bags are right there, pre-labeled. Everyone has their own. And then there's some others that are for team members. We have our winter bags, our winter survival bags, in the event that we're out in either winter or a shoulder season. We have a bunch of mechanized equipment. So for instance, we've got some quads, some sleds.
Side by side?
The side by side, yep. So we've got goggles and helmets for those. Poles and misery slippers. Some people might know those as snowshoes. As well as
you can get a lot of snow around here.
We do. And our team is adding the ability to do mountain activity. Not necessarily mountain rescue, but avalanche terrain rescue.
Yes.
So we've got our Avi kits or avalanche kits, as well as
and if I can make a quick little additional bit there, guys, if you're going to be doing skiing or mountain climbing and whatnot in the winter, please take your avalanche training course. We cannot stress that enough. We want to make these guys not have to do their job. And part of that is by you knowing what you can be getting into.
Especially because people that are going to be recreating doing that, if they have a course like their AST1, then they are able to self-rescue. By the time we get the call, it's usually going to be too late. Let's be fair, right? We search and rescue groups in the province. Our involvement when it comes to avalanche response is typically recovery. And that's just a sad truth. There's not a lot of oxygen under 5 feet of snow. So if you are somebody who recreates out in avalanche territory or any place where an avalanche or at least a snow slough can happen, consider getting that training. Consider getting all the equipment that you would need, such as an avalanche shovel, wear a transponder, a transceiver, avalanche transceiver. It helps. Make sure your friends have the training. Go as a group. Grab
Yes.
the 6 guys that you ride with and go do the AST course together. It might sound boring. You might think, oh, we don't need that. You don't need it until you do.
And you can never have enough knowledge, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Remember what we talked about before? Keep learning. Always
Keep
learning.
Never stop learning.
Yeah. So the rest of this is just gear that's being dried out. One of our team members was at the parade and had his dry suit on for his Swiftwater dry suit on for his presentation in the float. He was on one of our rescue kayaks with the paddles and was wearing this. So Jonathan's gear is currently out. Normally when you come up here, this table is clear. Unless there's like a repair going on something, this table is left clear so that in the event of an emergency,
Grab and go.
things come here. Yeah. In the not too distant future, we're probably going to do a bit of a shuffle. That area downstairs where some of the comms gear is probably going to get feng shuied, and some of this gear may end up down there so that can be the grab and go area, just because two-way traffic on a set of stairs sometimes doesn't work very well. And seconds count. We do a lot of Swiftwater. Quesnel Search and Rescue was recognized as having an anomalous number of Swiftwater tasks assigned to us in the past couple of years, thanks to a report that was funded by the BC Search and Rescue Association. And they pointed out that we have a lot of Swiftwater rescues. Our base is located directly across from the Fraser River at the mouth of the Quesnel River. And that is amazing because our team can prep here and get ready here. And all they have to do is zip across a road to the boat launch, and they can be on the Fraser, they can be on the Quesnel in really just a matter of minutes. So it's really expedient for our team. So having our stuff here, having our stuff always ready helps save lives. It really is true that seconds count.
In case you guys missed this mug, we'll talk like this for a little bit.
Magnificent beard.
Gorgeous, isn't it? It's nicely sun bleached lately, along with my cherry skin. Use your sunscreen. So,
And made me do it. Sorry, I'm joking.
So, you guys get a lot of your funding from the province. How else is, besides volunteering for helping with, are people able to help contribute to the SARS?
Yeah, so we are now a registered charity. Our society, the Quesnel Search and Rescue Society, is a registered charity with the Canadian Revenue Agency. So, the majority of our funding comes through the province of British Columbia has a grant that goes to our parent organization, which is sort of our lobbying wing, and they fund each of the teams depending on the skills they have, the call volume they have, the team members they have, the membership numbers they have, et cetera, et cetera. It's a whole big formula. And so we get that money, plus we also get a little bit of money from a regional government, so the regional district, as well as the municipality. That money helps keep the lights on. The first set of money helps us with training, purchasing training, sometimes purchasing equipment. Our bread and butter right now is donations. For instance, the drones that I showed you came from a grant from the Quesnel Community Foundation, which is a charitable group that does great work here.
Yeah.
The Elks donated money for us to have some new rope rescue apparatus. So it's groups like that save us, right? They
Yeah.
are our rescuers, because a lot of the stuff that we have has either been because we couldn't spend it because we couldn't train over COVID. Some of the other stuff that we have, we saved literally for years to be able to purchase, like to be able to have everybody in the same dry suit to make training easier.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of money, huge capital outlay that we had to plan as an organization.
Mhm.
And that's a lot of work to put on our society, on the group that runs it, to be able to coordinate that kind of funding. So we really do appreciate grant awards that we win. We really appreciate donations that come to us.
Yeah.
Those are what keep us alive.
Yeah, and so I'll be sticking in the description there again, guys, the link to that as well. And every penny helps. Like, it's you want to be thinking about your community. You may not never need it, but what if it's your neighbor? What if it's your friends. You know, like you want to think about everybody, not just yourself. And
Mhm.
this is a great way to contribute to if you don't personally have the means to join the crew, but this is still a way to help
Yep.
to help it run.
It's definitely all volunteer, right? So
Yeah.
like all the time that goes into it is volunteering. There is a little bit of expense for the average person if they're starting out, because you do have to have your go bag, which
Yeah.
is like if we were to be deployed to the middle of nowhere and we couldn't pull you out with a helicopter at that minute, you'd have to have the stuff to be able to spend a night, look after a subject, et cetera, if you had that. And if you don't already have that kit from, you know, your hiking bag, your personal kit bag, all that gear might end up being a bit of a capital outlay for you. So, you know, we start slow with that kind of stuff. We do get paid back, for instance, like if I burn fuel or whatever, there is a way for us to claim that. Some folks choose just to
Donate
eat
in that
it
way,
and
yeah.
donate it. Yep. But yeah, it's definitely not a money making thing. It can often be fairly expensive to volunteer,
Yeah.
but honestly, it's worth it. It
Yeah.
is so worth it. If you've ever reconnected somebody with their child or with a loved one, or pulled somebody who, like, quite literally a few days ago, we saved a life by bringing somebody off the Bowen River, off the Isaac River on the Bowen Lakes. So, you know, you think about that, and all of a sudden the few dollars here and there, the lack of sleep there,
Yeah.
the few minutes stolen from work here, you know, it doesn't really add up to much when it is in the currency of life. So
Yeah. We're not emotional individuals, but somebody's always cutting onions when those moments happen. You know, that
Oh, yeah.
reuniting part. Yeah. Someone's always cutting
Yep.
onions.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
this is our world. Like, if you haven't had at least one or two tears, you probably haven't been on a task.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, once again, thank you very much, Bob. It's been a pleasure and a blessing to be able to meet up with you and be able to go through all of this. And guys, like I said before, we'll be putting links below of how to join not just the Quesnel regional, but we'll also look at the links for all throughout the province as well. And for all our international viewers too, look into your region and see if that's something you'd like to do as well too. And but yeah, no, Bob, it's been a pleasure, and we're glad that you're able to meet up.
Thanks for coming. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Grab your camera hand.
And like, yeah, again, guys, if you liked what you saw, you know, hit that like, comment, subscribe button. If you've got some comments and whatnot, you know, if I don't know the answers, I'll ask Bobby here, and maybe he'll answer, or I'll just pretend like I know what I'm talking as usual. And yeah, till next time, guys.
You know, it's really all it takes now to capture content. Back when I was volunteering with Channel 10, I had a camera like the size of a mini fridge on my shoulder, and like, yeah.
All right.